Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. We've got a juicy tonight. A juicy tonight. Come on in. Welcome in. Hi, Verna. Hi, Salita Blue. Hi. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Come on in. Michelle Austin, come on in. Welcome. Hello. Hi. Thank you, Verna. Thank you so much. I'm going to be sassy tonight, guys. I'm going to be sassy. I'm going to also include my podcast. I'm going to include my podcast. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you do, be sure to share this video. So if you're in and you can hear the sound of my voice, please share. Share, share, share. It's Wisdom Wednesday. We have a fabulous guest tonight, TeresaYvonne, coming out of Maryland. She's an author. And it's going to be really good. Really, really good. So be sure to be prepared for this. Be prepared. And I know it's going to be some things that are going to be familiar to some and more so than others. But it's always something that can be looked at. You know, sometimes, you know, if you saw where I said the title tonight is Consciousness and Silent Abuse. Silent abuse. And this particular book is one everyone should have in their library. I'm a firm believer in that. And guess what? I sat here and didn't re-up on my water. Look at what I have for this whole entire hour. It's okay. It's okay. It is a-okay. I'm going to shut out some of these things because I can't get into my podcast. And that's a problem. I know they're probably waiting over there. Just like you guys are. You know, I really appreciate you guys coming in. I do. I appreciate it all the time. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and share. We got a little Aretha in the background. Hold on. I got to get started here. Make sure I let everybody know that I'm coming on this side. Thank you for coming on, Shonda. And of course, it's a radio podcast, so that's why you had the burst of Aretha in the background. So, welcome to the room, everybody. It's Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you for coming in with me. I am your host. I am host here under Fabulous. And so come on in. And like I said, everybody pull up a seat, get a good listen, because we're going to start momentarily. I am Valerie Miller of TVM. The Valerie Miller, double fold. This very moment, you have opportunity to change. And I'm saying that because that's what I do. I introduce you to yourself as your conscious change coach and strategist. So welcome into the room. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and invite Teresa on so we can go ahead and get started. It's a little after 7, and that's okay. If you can hear me, be sure to share some likes and loves. I hope I hit the right thing here. Hold on. I'm going to add you in now, Teresa. Good evening, Whittington. How are you today? How are you today? Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I do appreciate that. We're going to give Teresa a moment to pop into the room. And without further ado, we're just not even going to waste any time tonight. And I'm going to have to be mindful to check both of these. There she is. Hi,
Hi.
Teresa. Hello, dear.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I am fine. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Sparrows,
Okay.
can you hear Teresa? Can you hear in the room? Pop in a few more likes and loves in the event you can hear her. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on all of the juicy. You're going to miss it. You're feeling better, Weddington? I'm glad you're feeling better. We're going to have to chat tomorrow or by the weekend, okay? I recall your post, so I'm sending you a virtual hug, okay? Yes, Sparrows, it's Wisdom Wednesday. Thanks so much for coming in. And like I said, I'm being sassy and I'm being here on Facebook Live and on my radio podcast. So I've got nerve, but it's okay. I can do that. I am fabulous. Right, Teresa?
Right.
Right. And I'm going to just give an overall, just a little clip of about Teresa. And I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. There's no reason to tap dance around it, everybody, Sparrow. This is my cousin. She's my cousin. She's beautiful. She's fabulous. She's written a miraculous book. And everybody, like I said, you should have a copy of this in your library. And like I said, consciousness, and she is that. It took some consciousness for her to realize what she was living with for many years, and then she was brave and bold enough to get out of that. And that, in those moments, I'm grateful. I am grateful. So, without further ado, Teresa, Mrs. Long,
Yeah.
please introduce yourself to the Sparrows and just give a snapshot of your story, and then we'll just have some dialogue from that.
Hi, Sparrows. I am TeresaYvonne. I wrote the book Poemful Disclosures. It's a book basically about my brokenness and with low self-esteem and lack of confidence, and that led me to making bad decisions, choosing the wrong people to love, accepting mistreatment because I didn't think I was worthy. The book basically, it's titled Poemful Disclosures because everything's in poem form,
Yes.
but it's still a story. They're poems, but they're stories. Basically of what I had to go through, how I got out, what gave me strength. And what gave me strength and endurance was hope and faith, basically. Believing that I was here for a reason. And
Yes.
I know that I had to go through it so I could help other people. I had to be able to relate to them. And so basically that's the gist of it. And that's what I do now. I help people heal. So.
You know what, Teresa? That's a fact. And it's unfortunate, however, a gift all at the same time to have to endure such things. Just to be able to tell the story and be the voice for somebody else who isn't brave enough to leave, who isn't brave enough to tell somebody, who isn't strong enough to say, hey, this is happening to me, and keep quiet. So, I mean, it happened, like you said, low self-esteem. Over time, that takes a toll. And the strongest woman in the world can become that girl if you're not careful.
Yes.
And recall it. I mean, I can attest to it myself with my ex-husband. So that is something that that rings true, and you have to have strength to get out of those situations. So,
It's
like you said,
yeah,
you're the voice. Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny because I'm a very private person. I don't like to put my business out there. So
Right.
this is really tough for me to do. But
Mm.
it helped me heal. It did help me heal just to write about it and get it out because although I wasn't saying anything to anyone else, I was keeping it to myself, but not believing that I was going through. So as I was writing, I realized, oh my gosh, it was so much that was coming out,
Yes.
with my words. So, yeah.
And that's tough too. When you start writing, you have to relive situations. You have to go
Exactly.
back to those moments and it becomes as if it's happening all over again. So that's
Right.
why I feel mm, it's one of those things you have
Yeah.
to do. And that's when this
Yeah,
aha says, oh my gosh, I dealt with that. I
right.
went through that. I accept that. Why? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because
My original pages, when I started writing, they're a lot of them have tears.
yes.
They're damp, because you don't, it's like you suppress so much. You suppress
Mm-hmm.
so much. And when you're letting it out, it all comes out, so but I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it because I didn't realize how much I was holding in. I didn't realize I was how much I was hurting, you
Yes.
know. So
And you're right, you
mm,
don't want to tell anybody because in the back of your mind, you're hoping they get it together, hoping they can understand and listen when you tell them, hey, you hurt me. And you think it will sound off the alarms to say, okay, let me check myself. It doesn't.
you know.
It
And
doesn't.
then you hold on. I know I held on to the good time.
Right.
So yeah, you try to hold on to the good parts of them and not even think about the bad parts. Even though the bad outweigh the good, you still want to hold on to who you fell in love with, even
Yes.
though they're gone. They're not there anymore. So, or the
They
made
are.
up story. Yeah, I try to tell
They're gone,
my husband and
honey.
I. Yeah, my husband and I had a discussion, and I was like, he said, he basically asked me how I stayed for so long, and I basically made up my own world. I made up what I wanted my life to be, and that's how I portrayed myself in public. No one knew because I made him out to be my knight in shining armor when he was nothing, nothing close to being a knight. So it's amazing what you do to survive. It's amazing what you make up or um, create
Yes.
just to get by.
Yes. And that's where the stories begin in our
Yeah.
minds to make
Hmm.
them out to be the person everybody else think they are.
Right.
However, the truth is revealed behind your doors at your house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Exactly.
I remember those times. It's like, boy, and you
Right.
have to go back through it. But
Hmm.
I commend you for writing the story. I commend you for reliving it and know how tough that can be. However, it's the only way you're going to heal, to face it.
Right. Yes.
Face it, do
Yes.
something about it in order to put it behind you. Otherwise, it's impossible to move forward,
Right.
literally.
Yeah.
And you've
Right.
done that. I mean, you're in a whole different world right now due
I
to you making
am.
the
I
choice.
am. I am. I am. I'm remarried to a great guy. Actually, my high school sweetheart. It was like a Cinderella story.
Thank God.
Never saw it coming. I just never saw it come. I was just trying to heal. And like I tell women I talk to now, because I do speak to women. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them, when they find out what I've gone through, they want to talk to me. And I
Yes.
just let them know that even though it's been years, I wrote the book in 2017.
Yes.
I got out of a relationship in 2016. I'm
Uh-huh.
still healing. I'm still healing. It's a daily thing. And I won't say the physical, my bruises, my scars have healed, but
Right.
mentally and emotionally, you go through it. And you have to talk yourself out of it. I mean, it's still days I just want to curl up in a ball and say, okay, no more. But you got to
I
keep
get it.
going.
I get
And
it.
that's what I want to like let everybody know, that it's okay. Like how you heal is not like how anyone else heals. What you
Exactly.
go through, you know, I never thought I'd be, first of all, I didn't even think I'd be going through a 19-year relationship of abuse. But you
Right.
just got to think that was 19 years. I'm on what, year 4? And you give yourself time. We're our worst critics. We're harder on ourselves, and we need to forgive ourselves. you
Number
know
one, that's the first thing.
yes, yes,
However, and love
yes.
on yourself all at the same time,
Right,
because
right,
he was your husband. And I can,
right.
like I said, understand that. And you give them opportunity because you start questioning yourself. How did I not see this before?
Hmm.
Was he so good that, when you can say this is too good to be true, it
Right.
usually is. That's the
Yeah.
I can make that a hashtag. It is true. And be
Right,
careful because the
right,
other shoe is going to drop. You just don't know when. And when it
right,
happens, it could be 3 years like myself, it could be 19 years
right,
for you to say, you know what?
right,
Not my life, not getting ready to do this. However, what's my next step? What do I
right,
do now? Because
right,
everybody has this image of this person. I haven't said anything this whole time. Now I've got to raise up and spotlight it.
right, right. But I
Not
blame
having a
myself.
job, home,
Yeah, I
working from
didn't.
home or being home.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. That was I was a homemaker. Basically, he made all the money. So um, I just felt trapped. We have 4 children. So how do
Yes.
you leave that? And a lot of times I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was thinking about my kids. I didn't want to
Exactly.
disrupt their home life,
Right.
what they were comfortable with, thinking I was
Yes.
shielding them from a lot, but they knew more than I thought they knew.
Yes.
And had I known that, I think I would have tried to leave a little earlier, you
Yes.
know. So, yeah,
That's what mothers do. They protect. They
yes,
protect.
yes,
And that's what you were doing. And believe it or not, the years go by very fast. It can be 1 year,
very.
and the next year is 5 years, and then it's 10 years,
Hmm.
and it's not an overnight situation to where you can heal that fast. I mean, for me, it's been 12 years, and I still have a
Okay.
flashback every once in a while because somebody will say something or do something that's a trigger.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like,
Exactly.
not today. Not
Right.
not this one. I learned. I learned the first
Right.
time.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
believe in it. And you create behaviors for yourself. These
Mhm.
blocks, you have these things that occur because of those situations. And you have to
Right.
go back and say, okay, is this worth it? I did that because of
Right.
that. And so now
Yeah.
you have to recondition yourself. And it takes time. You're right. I'm proud of you. And then you're getting some
No, thank
kudos over
you.
here. Can you see the comments?
I can't see the comments, but
Well, it's a good subject. They're saying woohoos over here. Glad that you're where you are now. Where can we get the book? The book is on Amazon. So
well, I prefer
Teresa,
them to go to the website. I prefer
your
them to go to the
website.
website.
Okay.
Amazon acting funny for some reason, but they can always go to Poemful LLC. That's POEMFUL LLC.com, and you can also purchase it there. Yeah.
Go there first, please.
Right.
Go there first. And at the end of the night, Teresa will repeat where you can find her information because there's so much that's going to be coming from her. So be sure to follow her. Make sure you understand who you have before you because some miraculous things are going to come. And I believe in it. Thank you, Whittington, for putting that in the comments. You're great. So, being a homemaker, I get it. They're bringing in the
Right.
money and basically controlling everything.
Yes.
That was for me. I can't
Mm-hmm.
speak for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a pawn. Being independent, Little Miss Independent. Okay? Move me away from everything I know, family and friends. That's a part of it.
Right.
Okay? Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the US, in Italy. Okay? Let's go. Let's leave the country. Let's do this.
Right.
Okay? So it tests you to see what you're made of. I learned a lot about myself. I know you did as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's strength where you you never believed you had any, but it reveals. And
Right.
that's a but God kind of a situation to know that
Right.
you have favor and you're covered and protected the whole time. And
Right.
at the end of the day, you're becoming a voice for everybody else who don't have the strength. That's an
Right.
acceptance within it, you know?
It's
Wow.
funny how you say he isolated you. I was always the strong one, the one who stood up for everyone.
Uh-huh.
I isolated myself. I put myself in isolation because I knew the people who knew me and loved me could see right
Yeah.
through me. So I
Absolutely.
kind of pulled away. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he attempted to try and put rifts between me and my loved ones. Um, that's something that they kind of would not let happen. But
Yes.
I shied away from everyone because I didn't want them
Yes.
to know the truth. I knew that, and it's funny because I knew that if they knew, I would have to leave. And at the time, I just wasn't strong enough. And I tell
Yes.
people all the time, when you're ready, you'll leave. I stayed
Absolutely.
19 years. Some people stay longer than that,
Yes.
but it's when you're ready. Stop, don't gauge who you are and what you do off of anyone else. It's all
Exactly.
about what you can take and what you can deal with. And when you're ready, I always tell them, when you're ready. I'm not judging you when you're ready. So, because a
Exactly.
lot of people say you stayed for 19 years. I did. And I used to be ashamed of it. And
Don't
I'm not
be.
anymore. I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed. All the guilt and the shame. Um, just gonna be honest. I left all the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment in divorce court. I really,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really did. I really, I did. I know I wasn't supposed to be, but I was in the courtroom. They were talking, and my attorney would like nudge me. I was writing. Like, I actually have a couple of poems in the book, a couple of the stories. I was in court, and it's
You wrote in
basically
the courtroom.
saying, yes, the attorneys were battling. They were going back and forth, and I'm sitting there looking at the judge like, who's she going to decide with now? And really, I left all of that there. I left all of that
You
there.
have to.
It wasn't my intention. Honestly, it wasn't, but
Yeah.
it started to become, I started to see who had the power, honestly. And when I realized that the
Oh
judge,
my God.
the attorneys, my ex, no one
Right.
had as much power as who was protecting me and covering me. No one
Exactly.
had that much power. And I was in there drawing and so
Waiting
you
for it to
just
be over. Waiting it
yes,
out.
exactly. Because it was crazy. I'm not sure um, how long your divorce proceedings were, but I was on the stand for 6 days. Like I was a criminal. 6 days. I don't think OJ was on that long, but I was on the stand for 6 days. Like it was a murder trial. Like
Oh my
they
God.
really took me through the ringer. And it's like, okay, are we getting a divorce or what's going on here? But yeah. So they
That's
tried me,
tough.
but I needed that because I volunteer for the Family Justice Center in Prince George's County, and
Yes.
I'm able, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be able to tell other women, hey, they're gonna, come at you with everything. Being though I've
Right.
gone through it. If someone had told
Right.
me, you're gonna be on stand for 6 days, I'm not gonna be, I wouldn't have believed them, but I had to go through it.
It is unbelievable
Yeah.
to conceive
Yeah.
because that doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense at all. If you're there,
Right.
just grant it and let you
Hmm.
go. It's that easy.
Exactly.
It's that easy. I
But
never made it
that
to
was
court.
okay.
I didn't
But
make it
that
to
was the
court.
control. He no longer, I had a restraining order.
Yes.
So he couldn't control me in any other way. That was like, I think almost a year. And that
Right.
was his control in the courtroom. So they'll continue.
Yeah.
They'll try. Yeah. So
Yeah. That's why, knowing your story and sharing it with the Sparrows,
hmm
it's a lot of similarities. A
right.
lot of similarities. I never got the protection order. My mom didn't raise a fool, okay?
Right.
Mom didn't do that. My mother's
Right.
name is Dorothy. I'll tell anybody, my mama's name is Dorothy. And if you don't know Queen Fabulous, you don't know anybody because what she
Mhm.
will not allow, nor will she raise a fool. She's
Right.
always taught us no matter where you are, you surround yourself with people that can help you. It was that way
Mhm.
overseas. I was in touch with the embassy. They knew where I
Okay.
was, they knew what was going on. Not a dummy. Back in the US, on that naval base, oh, yes, I worked in public welfare, okay? Public
Right.
relations. So I worked with the chiefs and all the upper personnel. First name
Right.
basic. I had the cell phone number to the CO and the XO. So whenever I call my girlfriend, something's not right with this, checked it out, and guess what? The Navy put a protection order against him. I
Oh
didn't.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I didn't want it to become that. It
Right.
did. Okay. For 6 months, we came home, never said anything to the family, never did. But I put on that face to
Right.
protect him, still protecting him.
Yes.
But it was only three
Yes.
years. So 2.5 years, almost three, never made it to three. But it felt like at least 10 to 15 years. That's what it
Wow.
felt
Yeah.
like for
Yeah.
me. And the grace is I didn't have to wait a year to do
Right.
anything.
Okay.
After, y'all need to read the book. I can't even go into that. This is about Teresa tonight. But the thing is that juicy, and sometimes it's hard for me to believe I lived that, you
Right.
know,
Right.
I lived it. And look, Queen Fabulous just popped in the room, Teresa. But the thing is, it was that, and I knew, like you, we come from the same blood. We're the same blood.
Right.
They will not have us living under those conditions. They're not having it.
Right.
I'm 18
Right.
hours away, living like that, and refused to leave until the divorce was over. Being
Oh
in
wow.
Kittery, Maine, honey, I could divorce in 6 weeks if he didn't contest. He contests.
Oh.
So it
Right.
went 6 months, you know? But at the end of the
Right.
day, it was him trying to control again, manipulating.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
got you. So I said, you
Yeah.
know what? You can have everything. I just want my last name
Mhm.
back and be gone. And that's
Right.
how it ended up. So we never made it to court, just
hmm
negotiations. And I said, have whatever you want. I'm out of here. And that was it.
Right.
So that was winning. That was
Right.
winning in the
Yeah. And
end.
it's amazing how you have to start completely over. But I was
Mm.
okay with that. I felt if at one time I felt like, dang, I gave up 19 years of my life, and family members are like, oh, you need to fight for this and fight for that. No, I'm okay with starting
Not worth it.
completely over the
Yeah, it's
right
not worth
way.
it.
You
Yeah.
know, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I,
Is it hard? Yes, it's difficult, very difficult starting completely over.
yeah.
Because we're talking like
More
20
than
years
one.
later, you know.
Yeah.
So, but It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like I said, you're gonna have your moments. I still have my moments to where I'm like, but it's okay. I give myself that time to cry,
Yes.
scream,
Yes.
vent. I give myself that time. And I say, okay, I'm gonna give you 15 minutes to get it together. I'm gonna
That's
give
it.
you a 2-hour movie. Sometimes I'll just turn on a movie, my favorite movie, my favorite song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you 2 hours, and then this pity party is over. You know. Um,
Yes.
so I mean, you have to give yourself limits because, like I said, I would, put the covers over your head and
And go.
and just
That's
be
it.
done.
Deal
But you
with
can't do that. You can't do that. You know.
You can't. And being a tough
Yeah.
cookie, Teresa, 7 days was all I had. I gave myself
Mm.
7 days, seven,
Hmm.
to get over him. Like I didn't have time. I've
Right.
given you 2.5, almost 3 years. Actually, 3 years. If you include
Hmm.
a year of dating. I 7 days because
Hmm.
I'll turn the page on you. I will literally
Right.
block you. Anybody who
Right.
knows me knows that about me. I'm
Right.
so good at it now. I can do it in 2 days, two, three, max, because it's all
Right.
about being conscious and accepting what is. If I cannot
Right.
change it, it's time to let that go. I refuse to hold on to it because life is still going on and
Right.
my life doesn't change because you're no longer in it. So once
Okay. Right.
I learn to accept that, I have moments, but am I Mary J. Blige? Cry no more. No more. Because
Right.
it's not worth it to me. And it takes a lot to get there. However, having extreme loss before that,
Hmm.
I believe that's what prepared me to be able to like suck it up, like
Right.
suck it up.
Right.
When you lose
Right.
children, that's the ultimate
Right.
work, you know? So that's why, yeah, I commend you. Like, who cares? 19 years. You just
Right.
gave your marriage a chance. That means you
Right.
took your marriage serious, you took your vows serious,
Exactly.
and you gave him
Exactly.
opportunity to fix it. It's not your fault he didn't do that.
Right.
But the
And I
moment
and
you
I
said
wrote
it,
in
he knew
the
what it was.
I wrote in the book about I vowed before God,
Mm-hmm.
and that was hard for me. Like, okay, I took my vows, for better, for worse, and I had to have a friend tell me. It was like, you're being loyal to a disloyal situation. He was
Yeah,
like, God didn't put you here to suffer.
right,
And I'm like, but I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to have his back. He'll change, he'll change, he'll change. No, he just
yeah,
got worse. And my
yeah,
believing that he's going to change just basically put myself in, because it just got worse. Like, it wasn't always physical violence.
right,
It was more emotional and mental than anything. But when it got,
right,
like I said, it just progressed. And so six stitches in my lip and cuts and on my arms, and I still see the scars. um it just got worse. And when I saw
right,
that it was getting worse, like you said, it wasn't hard to let him go. Once I was like, okay, I'm done.
right,
That wasn't the problem. Trying to restore myself was the hardest
right.
problem. That
It
was the
is.
issue, trying to restore, because it's
It is.
like I'm questioning myself, like, how could you deal with this person? It wasn't I didn't even think of him. I didn't
Right.
think of anything he did to me. I'm thinking, like, you really, I mean, because me, I'm the Tom, but I fought boys. I fought everyone, and how did you become this person? In the
So
book, I
keep
even
that.
have a
Yeah.
story basically saying, what happened to the woman my parents raised, basically, the woman I failed. That's the name of the poem.
Yes.
Because the person I became, I didn't like who I was.
Right.
This is not who my parents raised. This is not who I
Exactly.
want to be. I have a daughter. I had 3 boys and a girl. And
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, like, oh Lord, what have I taught her? What type of woman have I taught her to be if she's seeing this? So it was more restoration for me,
True.
opposed to missing him and what we had. Because when I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
everything I thought I was going to be losing, I made up. So, you
Exactly.
know, yeah.
But your life is valued greater than that. And just like the friend had that conversation with you, I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to my boss in Maine. I was telling him what was going on because of my behavior change in the office. So I had to let
Mm-hmm.
somebody know what was going on. My family is
Right,
18 hours away. I couldn't tell them. They'd go into panic mode. So I
right.
talked to him, and the company I worked for was a Christian establishment. So I knew I
Okay.
felt safe. I
Mm-hmm.
knew I had a family away from family. So that's how God put people in place to protect you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful
Exactly.
for them. However, when I was telling him that, and I said, you know what, I'm willing to do what I have to do because, not just getting married, got married in another country, got married not once but twice because I had to get married for US and Greece. And then it was on
Mm.
holy ground. It was a holy, holy ground where
Right,
we got
right.
married. So I'm just torn, like, okay, I chose to marry this person. So let me just work it out. You can't just
Right,
throw in the towel. This isn't some guy you're just dating. It's your
right.
husband. It's a different,
Mm.
significant. So when I mentioned it to my boss, he said to me the most profound thing. He said, sometimes you're working hard to save something that God is clearly removing you from.
Mm. Yes.
So when he said that,
Yeah.
it was like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after losing the baby, Christian, the last
Mm-hmm.
baby,
Mm-hmm.
almost hemorrhaged to death. Thanks to him, and a lot I still didn't put in that book. I didn't put everything in that book, but it will
Right.
come out in book 3. Trust and
Right.
believe it will,
Right.
because it was that type of thing. When you start playing with my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story. You
Right.
nearly took my life. You did take our child's life. And then you got to deal
Right.
with the blame. It was all I could do not to blame him, but it was his fault. I had to
Right.
forgive him and myself
Mm.
at the same
Yes.
time. But when I left, the stalking started, all of this stuff, and then the protection had to come
Mm-hmm.
on. So it was all of
Mm-hmm.
these things that was happening. Again, like you said, this isn't who our parents raised.
Right.
So
Exactly.
as I'm hemorrhaging to death, I'm like, oh God, I'm going to die. Literally, I felt myself dying. I felt myself slipping. Oh, positive blood. They didn't have any. They're scrounging trying to find it. But the thing is, I said, listen, call my mom and dad. Call them. I need to tell my parents goodbye. I need to tell them goodbye. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. He refused to do that.
Wow.
So the nurse was like, listen, either you do it or I'm going to do it. She knew I was dying. I'm white as a sheet,
Right.
white as this dress I'm wearing. So it's just like, oh my gosh, this is
Right.
who I married.
Right.
Nobody knows because I never told my family. So I'm like, listen, God, I can't die today. Nobody knows. Nobody
Right.
knows. I can't take this and die today. So when he decided to call my mom and dad, 4 o'clock in the morning, in left ear, I hear my mom's voice answer the phone. In the right ear, I hear God's voice. You're not dying. You're going to be okay. So you
Right.
don't have to tell your parents goodbye. When you come that close to dying over somebody, it's time to go.
Right. Exactly.
That was the confirmation
Exactly.
I needed.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
When I asked, give me something, show me something that I cannot deny,
Right.
that's when out of the blue had a miscarriage. It stood up. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching football and I'm downstairs bleeding to death. Are you serious?
Right.
So
Right.
it's like those types of things. So you and honey, yeah, I get you 100%.
Mm.
It's a lot I never shared. And I'm sure it's a lot you
Right.
still haven't shared.
Yeah. I put things in the book. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
things I just it was just so much, Like I said, I have 4 kids. I didn't really want I think what I put in there would kind of shake them, but
Yeah.
I really, they know. I mean, they're older now, so they
Right.
know a lot more than I thought they knew.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, like you said, he wasn't care. He didn't even care about, your life. Basically, mine was a little different. I didn't care about my life.
Mm.
I didn't love myself. I didn't feel I was worthy. He's held guns to my head. He did not care about me at all. But I
Well,
stayed because I always thought it was my fault. It was something I was doing. Maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. Well, that was his mind control, you know.
yes.
And when now that I think back, I was always trying to please him,
Mm-hmm.
never ever thinking it was him. When you say forgive, it took me a minute. I had to pray to God that I would not be bitter. I prayed every day. I was like, if you get me out of this, you're going to have to make me into, make me understand, because it's so easy to be bitter. It's so
It is.
easy to hate him. It's
It
so easy
is.
to stalk him and throw rocks. Honestly, it
Yeah.
was just really easy.
I know
just,
it.
it's really easy, just hate. And I just didn't want to
Yeah.
be that person, because although I went through everything I went through, I
Mm-hmm.
still had a heart. I still loved everybody. I still wanted to do and help people,
Yes.
and I didn't want that part to be lost. So
Right.
I prayed to God for, just take all the bitterness away, take everything away. And
Yes.
I'm not bitter anymore. I don't hate him. I really feel sorry for him. And I tell people get mad at me when I say that. I feel sorry for him, because
It's a
although
fact.
I felt I was going through low self-esteem and
Right.
the lack of confidence, he didn't have any either. What happy person is going to treat someone the way he treated me? He wasn't happy
Nobody.
either. He didn't have us, he had low self-esteem. He had a lack of confidence, because
Right.
he felt like he had to control me and beat me down mentally, and sometimes physically, so I wouldn't go anywhere. He knew what I had. He knew who I was. Because when I met him, I was the strong, talk back, mouthy person. This is who you married. This is who you met. And it took him
Exactly.
all those years to that person just disappeared. That person just went away. Like, this is
His
not
soul,
even who
peace
you
and
met. But yeah,
that was the
so
goal.
and in the book I say it takes, he did all of this to me because I was strong. And
Right.
in the beginning, I felt like I wasn't strong, like I wasn't worthy. But you don't have to break a weak person down. You have to
No.
break the strong down.
Yeah.
So I kind of understood it for what it was, um, and
And
accepted
accept.
it. I think I'm
Yeah.
going through my acceptance stage now, to where
Yeah.
I'm accepting people for who they are,
You
what
have
they
to.
are. Um, but I don't have blinders on anymore. It's,
Right.
it's, it's almost scary, because everything is so transparent to me, family, friends, just people in the
Very.
street.
Yeah.
It's
You have to.
very scary, because it's like, okay, I see you for who you are. And then I'm able to deal with them the way I need to deal with them. I'm able to
Right.
protect myself, so um it makes you feel kind of funny, because it's like, okay, God, where was this 19 years ago? But
You had to
I'm
get
grateful for
there.
it now.
Yeah, you had
I'm
to get
grateful for
there.
it now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
But see, I was the
I got to,
feisty and would stand up. I'd stand up
right.
to him. I'm this little thing, and he was like six something. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm here and would go toe
Right,
to toe. I let him
right,
know. You may I don't suggest you do that and go to
right,
sleep.
right,
So it was threats, but he tried to break me down verbally. And like
right.
I said, moving me away from my family, that was the first
Mm-hmm.
thing. And
Right.
like you said, when someone hurts, they want to hurt everybody around. And they put on,
Mm-hmm.
these fictitious airs and they pretend to be the people they would like to be. He became the
Mm-hmm.
person I said I wanted in order to get me. Very
Right,
persistent about getting
right,
married. hey, let's just wait until you get back to the States. He didn't want to wait. He wanted to go ahead and get married over there. But the
Right.
truth person didn't stand up until I got there. And I was like, who are you? I don't know you. You're kidding, right? Did you have a bad day at
Mm.
work? That's how I
Right.
looked at it. But that was the person
Right.
every day. And like I said, my
Mhm.
mama's name is Dorothy. So I will raise up. I don't care how big you are. I don't care. I
Right.
had something to say and I would do it and say it in love. And I'm saying it in
Right.
kindness because I want you to hear every word that I'm saying. I'm not going to
Mhm.
argue. I'm not doing that. But at the same time, I'm strategizing how I'm leaving, how I'm going to get away.
Right.
I
Right.
believe in coming home to carpet and ceiling fans. I will leave you like that.
Right.
But at the same
Right.
time, at the end of the day, I didn't want anything, anything. I just wanted a peace of mind. I wanted you
Mhm.
gone. And I wanted to
Right.
pick those broken pieces and put myself back together beautifully. That's all I wanted. And it took some
Right.
patience and some personal development to keep myself in a good
Right.
place because it's easy to be chiseled apart. They would do
Right.
everything to chisel you down and just would not allow that. But
I'm glad you said something about um you said something about like you're standing toe to toe. So I've spoken in churches and to women. Um
mm-hmm,
I think the so it was I was speaking to women about domestic violence. And I
mm-hmm,
told them, I will fight him back, but
mm-hmm.
he's a man. And of course, I can't beat a man, but I would attempt
No.
to. I would try.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
one lady stood up and she said, "You fought him back?" And I said, "Yes, I tried." She said, "I was the only person that she's ever heard talk about domestic violence that actually
Yeah.
admitted to fighting back." And I said, "What did you expect?" She said, "I expected you to be over in the corner getting beat on or no, I try to protect myself. I try to defend myself. And I think women
Right.
need to hear that.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I can't beat a man. I can't beat a man. But I'm not going to
No.
stand there and let you hit on me. I'm not going to stand and let you, I'm going to try and defend myself. And I need women to
Every
know that just because you fight back, because I had the judge tell me um, that because I fought him back, I wasn't a domestic violence victim. I wasn't a victim. Okay.
what is his definition
Yeah,
of domestic violence?
exactly. Because I fought back. Basically, she basically said we had a fight. No, we didn't have a fight. If I'm the one with the stitches and the you know what I'm saying? I'm defending myself. But
Wow.
and I tell women too, I guess the judge that I had as well in divorce court was not very fair. And I kind of like try and have the women understand that sometimes you're going to get a judge that's not going to be sympathetic or compassionate. And
Right.
just keep your
Unfortunately.
composure and be okay. Just know who's in control.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But basically, I was told that because I fought back, I wasn't a victim. We were
Wow.
fighting. So you just hear everything, and I was shocked, especially it being a woman. But I was
Right.
shocked to hear that. But it made me stronger. Um, I'm able to
It
relate
does.
to people and let them know what could happen, what to
Exactly.
expect, but don't let that break you down. Don't let that discourage you, knowing that the law won't even be on your side, so
And they're not.
um,
They're not.
yeah,
They're not.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I
but
was fortunate for that.
right,
They
yeah,
were. I was
but you have
very
to,
fortunate.
and I think that's what really made me just start talking openly to God, honestly, just believing in my faith, like no matter what they did to me, I was okay. And even if I
Right.
took it home with me, the next morning I was fine,
Right.
And I started helping people too. So that's when I started volunteering. I
Right.
started volunteering and helping other women. That
Mm-hmm.
helped as well. That helped
Mm-hmm.
as well because it's like it showed me that, he didn't take this from me. I tried to hold on to
Right.
everything I felt he didn't take, So I need women to know that
Yeah.
you have, whether you feel you have strength or not, you do. And men too, because some men go through it. Men go through it as well.
Absolutely.
You
They're
know,
just as
um,
abused.
they love just as hard. So
Right.
we can't, leave them out. I've had men come to me. I haven't had men come to me as far as being domestic violence victims, but I've had them read the book and go back and speak to their daughters to make sure, because
That's
like I
beautiful.
told, like, we weren't raised that way. It's like, oh Lord, let me go talk to my daughter and make sure that this isn't happening to her. Like, I've instilled certain things, like she knows she can trust me. My whole
Right.
thing without telling, I didn't want to tell my family, my dad would have killed him. So he being, so like you said, you protect them. I protected him
Right.
for years. And to go to the courtroom and him act like I was the enemy. If I told you, wouldn't even be here to be in court had I said something. You should be thanking me for keeping my
Yeah,
daddy, my uncles, my cousins, everybody off of you,
that's a
honestly.
fact.
So yeah, it was a trip. But I'm grateful that I had a chance to experience it. I feel like I was chosen.
Yes.
I was chosen because
Hmm.
God knew that, he's not going to put more on you than you can take. He knew
No,
I could
he
take
won't.
it. It's like, okay, if I have to be the example, let me be the
Then
example.
let
And
it
I'll
be.
be able to help other people who aren't as strong, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be the voice. You were chosen for
Right,
the voice.
right,
And I didn't choose to be where I'm sitting right now. But no, I
right,
have to be because it's so many things and crossing paths of so many people all the time that also have voices to speak to everyone, and you never know who needs to hear that. And it's a
right.
major thing. And most would say, well, what are you doing, raising up at a big guy like that? Because he was much bigger than me. I
Mm,
said I had to make a split second decision. And I've heard stories of
mm-hmm,
abuse. I've never been in one and
mm-hmm.
had to realize, oh my gosh, I've married somebody that's abusive. And I knew it was
Right.
some things that he went through in his life that he shared with me, which I knew that was the cause of it. So
Mm-hmm,
you forgive that and you be empathetic with that. However,
mm-hmm,
in that moment when he tried me, that one day, you only have that first chance when he
right,
tried it. And I let him know, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you understand who you're talking to or who you've dated in the past, but
right.
this thing, lies. It's not happening. And I was not me at the time. I said, and I looked up at him in the shower. I'm in the shower. He comes and pulls the shower curtain open and says what he has to say, pretty much demanding me. And I'm looking around. You know how we do. It's nobody in this shower but me. It's nobody in this house but me. I know you're not talking to me. No,
Right.
you're not. And he tried it. And I said, listen, let me tell you a story. And I was so serious in this moment. I said, if you ever confront me the way you just did again, I will literally slice you and put it in a box, FedEx it to your mother. Do not ever try me again. My mother's name is Dorothy. And I
Dorothy.
meant that. I meant that. And if I ever
Right.
tell you my mama's name, I'm so serious in that moment because I was in disbelief that he
Right.
confronted me the way
Right.
he did, one, and two, in the shower. Oh, so you're going to make a demand on me? But I knew if
Right.
I had done one of these numbers, he would have had me.
Right.
So instead of doing
Right.
this, I did this.
Right. Right.
He never tried it again. He didn't. He did not.
Right.
And that's when I knew, okay, battleship, I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And strategies started coming into play. I started
Right.
strategizing how I was going to leave because he was
Right.
weak in those spaces. And his greatest fear was me leaving him. I'm the best
Mm.
thing that's ever happened to him, but the best person that ever happened to you is the ones who get the abuse. So you
Mm-hmm.
abuse the ones that you worked hard to get, no balance. It's no balance
Right.
there. And it's
Right.
unfortunate. I mean, he's forgiven. It took some time, But I promise you,
Hmm.
February 5th, every single year I celebrate with wine and cupcakes because that's the day of the divorce.
Right.
Every February 5th. I'm knocking at 12 years in a few weeks. I love my divorce day
Right.
because God gave me a second chance.
Right.
I won't say
Exactly.
it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake.
Right.
It was a
Right.
lesson I had to
Hmm.
learn
Right. Exactly.
because
Something you had to go through.
I had to learn that
Hmm.
and to make better decisions moving
Hmm.
forward, to
Hmm.
ask those tough questions up front rather than getting the unveiling after you've married them. Because
Right.
again, he was way too good to be true. Everybody
Right.
loving on him, and he's a nut at the house.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for.
Yeah,
Don't
but
be
I,
fooled by this little petite thing, honey.
right.
Mm-mm. You will be
It's
introduced.
easy
Gretchen had
to,
come to life at that time. I had an alter ego name. Gretchen was not nice. She wasn't. No,
right. Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm glad you can laugh. I was bad. I had to be
Oh,
bad. And it took, like you said, you volunteered. I volunteered
hmm.
also with Red Cross,
Okay.
NCIS. I
Hmm.
volunteered with different spaces to keep
Right.
myself sane, to keep sane. I had to
Exactly.
be around other people
Hmm.
to maintain my identity because
Right.
also in the military, you become their identity, their social security
Right.
number. You have no identity. I had a problem with that. It was so cultish.
Right.
I didn't like that. So it was already, I'm fighting to keep my identity. And then you want to be this person?
Right.
Really? So
Yeah.
I thank God
Yeah.
for that entire experience. I'm grateful
Right.
for it because I wouldn't be who
Right.
I am now if it wasn't for that as a part of
Exactly.
me becoming who I am. And be
Exactly.
able to tell somebody else, oh, girl, you can get through it. You have to decide to do it.
Right.
Do that.
And like I said, it's a fight. It's a challenge. You're challenged every day. Um,
Yes. My gosh.
but what's on the other side is worth it. And that's what I tell a
It
lot of
is.
people because I've spoken to women who are still in it.
Yes.
Um,
Right.
and I just tell them, I said, when you're ready, I give them the numbers, they have my personal number.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're ready, but you have to be ready. The most dangerous thing, I guess, volunteering for the Family Justice Center, the most dangerous thing you could do is to leave that situation and then go back.
And go
That's
back.
the
Oh my
most
God.
dangerous
Yeah.
because now they know they have you,
Yeah.
and now they know you're able to walk out that door. It gets more dangerous for you.
Yes.
So
They
just
will
know when
kill you.
you're leaving for good. You're
Yeah.
leaving for good, you
Yeah.
know. And so I work with a lot of agencies,
Right.
nonprofit agencies. I'm actually starting my own nonprofit
Great.
where they find housing and they find jobs and
Yes.
everything. Because so I had 4 kids. He made the money. Where was I going to go? I didn't tell my family. I didn't. So, and I always think of women, like when I finally told my family, they were there to help me. They were so supportive. But I always think
Right.
of the women who don't have anyone,
That's the heart.
and
Yeah.
volunteering. I've been able to see, I've helped a lot of nonprofits. There's just not enough. It's not enough. There are not enough nonprofits out here. I have 4 kids. If I leave, you're trying to tell me I'm going to put my kids in a dangerous situation and go into a shelter? That's not something
Yeah.
a mom's going to do, you
Right.
know. So my nonprofit, I'm really I feel like homemakers need at least 4 years to get themselves together, go to
Right.
school,
Yes.
have housing, have everything they need for their kids just to get back on their feet. They need at least 4 years. And there are programs out here to help, but there are no programs that are like long term like that. And,
It's
and
not
so
sufficient.
I'm pushing for that, because there's so many people suffering because they don't know, they have nowhere to go,
Exactly.
so yeah. But yeah,
It's
when I got
heartbreaking.
out, I started volunteering. I started going up to these meetup groups for divorce people who were getting a divorce or been divorced and
Right.
going through a divorce. And so I just started, and like I said, I'm very private, but I had to make myself get out there. And I still to this day, um, I'm still a private person, but I know what I have to say has to be said. What I've gone through has to be said. I have to open my mouth and help other people. And that's what gets me out of my own way. Because like I said, I put my little pink robe on and my fluffy socks, and I would sit in the house and not
That's
deal
too
with anyone
safe.
but my immediate
It's too
family.
safe. Yes. I,
But I know that's not my purpose, and that's not why I'm here. That's not what God intended me to do. You know,
yes.
I'm
You begin
supposed to
that
help.
now.
And yeah,
You have to. It's
yeah,
um it's a responsibility.
right,
It's something that
right,
has to be done.
right.
And I commend you for doing that and looking at it. Nobody, women have a very hard time transitioning out of anything.
Mm,
Um, because it was the same for me. You had children, so there could have been help for you. There is nothing for a single woman. Absolutely
right.
nothing. So if you don't have family to catch you, you're
Mm-hmm.
basically on your own, which
Right.
makes them put them in a position of where that's why they choose to go back.
Yes.
That's why
They're
they
trapped.
choose it rather than being
I've heard a lot
on
of,
the street, they know where to go.
yeah, a
Right.
lot of women say that they're trapped. And, you know, I've never, I trapped myself. Like I said, I didn't tell anyone. So I kind of
Mhm.
like I trapped myself. But
Right.
when I finally told my family, I had a family to tell, I had friends to tell,
Right.
they brought us food because when I got that restraining order, he cut off everything. He didn't pay the light bill, the mortgage. I didn't even know that the electric company came to your house to shut your power off anymore. I thought they could just switch click a switch.
Switch.
No, the electric man came to my door and told me how much money I owed. And if I didn't give it to them, they were going to turn off my power. I'm sitting there like, what? But I'm also grateful for that because had he not come to the door and just flicked the switch, I
Right.
wouldn't have been able to tell him my story. And it's so funny how people just you would think that they would not deal with you or listen to you. But I said, look, I'm going through a divorce. My ex, I have a restraining order. I showed him a restraining order, the Pepco man. I showed him the restraining order and I told him he was supposed to pay the bill. He didn't pay it. Um, this man looked
Mm.
at me and said, sweetie, I'm not gonna turn your power off today, but try your best. He said, I'm gonna hold them all. I can't say his name, I don't want to get him fired, but I'm gonna
Please
hold
don't.
them all as long as I can. And he
Right.
did. He really did. I got so much advice from people I didn't expect to get advice from, like the bill collectors were calling. And
Right.
I just basically said, I just told him, look, I don't have a job. My ex, we're going through a divorce, da 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 da. The creditors were praying. I had a creditor pray on the phone with me. You
Look at
know,
that.
I had the IRS tell me, I had somebody at the IRS tell me what to do, how to go to the state of Maryland so that I wouldn't keep getting penalized. I mean, telling your truth, honestly, just being honest. So, shoot, I
Yes.
started telling everybody. I started calling the creditors. Yeah, I don't,
And let me tell
but
you
they
what, let me
worked
tell
with
you
me.
about this. Yes.
They worked with me. And a lot of people are scared. They feel like it's nothing they can do. Um,
Right.
Nothing beats a failure but a try. I did everything I could. And I can honestly say on this side of it, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't hide it. I'm glad that I told my truth. I'm glad that I
Right.
was just honest. I mean, I
Yes.
had a creditor say, well, I'm gonna call you once a month and you just let me know if I don't go. I started calling them. I had my list of creditors to call and let them know, hey, I go to court on, Monday. Nothing's
Hmm.
happened yet. So people will work with you. I mean, people,
They
there's
really
still good
will.
people. I guess it I was shown that there are still good people out here.
A lot.
regardless of what you think of them and
Hmm.
how they present themselves to other people, there are still good people out there. So
Absolutely.
that kind of gave me a little more faith in humanity, because
It
I didn't
does.
trust anyone. After that, I didn't, dealing with him, someone I loved and built a life with, I didn't trust anyone,
It was,
so
it's tough.
yeah,
I'm glad they did that with you.
right.
Yeah. I just made one phone call. That was
Mhm.
it. I called XO, honey. I'm going straight to the top.
See, but
And they were like,
that's the thing. You had the military. That would have
I'm
been, that would
bold,
work
honey.
for
I
me.
went to the tip top of the Navy. Yes, I did. My mama didn't raise a fool. I'm telling you. So when I did that, they literally gave me their cell phone numbers and said, any time of the day and night you feel fear, you feel like, because he was stalking the house. He drive 45 minutes, about an hour, just to park in the driveway with his lights on high beam. And it's just me and
Right,
the dog because I left. I left him.
right.
I went to the house. He stayed at the townhouse, but he was stalking me every single night. Honey, I turn
Scare
those lights
tactics.
off and go to bed. Honey, come on, Benji, let's go to bed. Because he didn't scare me like that. I
Right.
knew when I left, God gave me permission to leave. I knew I was
Mhm.
covered. When he did
Right.
not pay the bills,
Hmm.
XO, he's not paying the
Right.
bill. They went over and said, listen, you are to pay every single bill in that house until your divorce is final. And that restraining order, that protection was for a year. He
He
couldn't
was
call
bold.
me, text me, think about me telepathic. They controlled him because he
He
was a
was
part of the
bold,
government.
but he was bold
He
though,
was.
very bold, knowing that they get on them quick. He was very bold.
Mhm.
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
He thought he was. He
Right.
found out who he married. He found out with the quick fast.
Right.
Yes, do not. Because, you know, the one thing I held on to was my strength. I knew
Mhm.
I had to hold on to that.
Right.
Every time there was an attempt, I had to, and still hadn't told family anything at that point.
Right. Right.
I hadn't told them
Well,
anything.
that's the thing that my ex, so I learned to deal with him. He's a narcissist. So I
Mm,
learned how to deal with him, to the
mm-hmm.
point I would pretend to cower. So I never really stood up. I would just let him have his way. I don't want to argue. I don't want to go through it with you.
Right.
So he dealt with that for 17 years of me doing that. So when I decided to fight him in court, this was
Right.
he didn't know how to take me. Like, she's not backing down. I mean, he got
Yeah.
mean, he got evil. I mean, they did so much. They tried to do so much to me in court. But because I was fighting back, he hadn't seen that person in 19 years. You see what I'm saying? So,
Showed up.
um, oh, I don't think he's still not over it. The fact that I stood up to him, and I couldn't, but like he tried to bring my kids into it, um,
Wow.
just so much, just to try and hurt me. So you hurt your kids to try and hurt me. Like, that's crazy. But I
Yeah.
mean, they use any and everything they can, and women just need to understand, men too, just need to understand, protect yourself. There are
Yeah.
things I wish I would have done while I was going through it before I actually got the restraining order and he got out. Documentation, document everything, you
Yeah.
know, put in a safe place though, but document everything. I didn't go to the doctors unless I had to. I had to go for 2 concussions. I had to go because my head hurt and my ears were ringing so bad. I thought my eardrum was busted.
Wow,
But
Teresa.
there were many times I should have gone. I had bruises I could hide. I just put on a sweater or a shirt. But I only went to the doctor when, I had to get stitches. I had to
Right.
get my arm checked to see if it was broken, something like that. But all the other times I never, and I tell women all the time, whether you go to the doctor or not, document it. Take a picture. Your camera phone will have the date
Right.
and the time.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you have to do things to protect yourself, because another thing that happened in court, the judge was like, well, you didn't go to the doctor. You don't have any we don't have any proof. You know, so then it was my word against his. Had I
Yes.
not gone to the doctor the last time, the emergency room, the last time to get my lips stitched up, um, that was basically my only proof other than like concussions that had happened a couple of years before.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad that I had to go to the doctors. I didn't want stitches in my lip, but I had to go because that's documentation. They called the police because they didn't believe that I beat myself up, you know. So, but even then, I was still protecting him, you know. And a lot of people, you know, I tell women all the time, don't feel crazy, don't feel stupid when you're still protecting
Don't.
that
No.
person, because that was
Right.
my livelihood. That was my kid's father. You know, that's someone I built a life with. You know, you still don't
Right.
want to see that person get in trouble. You still
Right.
want, even through my stitches, I still wanted things to work out. You know,
Exactly.
I'm glad they didn't, but I tell people all the time, don't never question yourself. You're okay. You
Mhm.
love the way you love. You know, I would never tell you to stay in a dangerous situation, but you love the way you love, and never let
Exactly.
anyone make you feel bad for that. You know, when
Right.
I gave all I didn't have anything else to give. I knew it was time to go. I knew it was time to go. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the gift in it all is that you're capable of loving someone to that capacity.
Right.
Even though you know they're sick, you know they're hurting, they need help,
Mm-hmm.
and they're taking it out on you, because what you're doing is holding on to that little glimmer that you still see of
Yes.
life in them, that light. And it's hopeful
Yeah.
that they can make a decision to turn around and fix it for the sake of the family or whatnot. But when you realize that that's not going to happen, you have to make a decision for the safety and the betterment of
Mm-hmm.
yourself and your children, you know, and
I
you
was
did that.
scared to I was wor I was kind of scared to I was scared because I didn't think I could love again. Were you ever scared that you couldn't love again?
Honey, I couldn't wait to love
You
again
weren't?
because I knew I learned so much through this.
Right.
I said, honey, I journaled, Teresa. I would journal
Uh-huh.
everything. Every day I was journaling what my day looked like. And then I go back in
Right.
disbelief and I put it in a trunk. I didn't go back
Mm-hmm.
until years later. And then when
Mm-hmm.
I started writing How I Became Fabulous. So
Mm-hmm.
looking back through those things, and I'm excited right now to meet Boaz Solomon. I said, when
Mm-hmm.
Boaz Solomon show up, I am good to go. I've been on isolation island, personal development, not accepting things. And that last
Right.
guy, that last guy, I was holding on to some things with him. He just wasn't right, but never
Mm-hmm.
committed to him. He had some things, and the same thing, stalking. Don't
Mm-hmm.
stalk me. Don't love me
Mm-hmm.
so much you need to hound me or do stupid
Right.
stuff. And then it's not,
Right.
you have to question it because it's really not love. It's just you
Right.
wanting to take ownership and possessions. And that's a
Exactly.
bona fide pupito. And I write about
Right.
pupito. Punks under pretense, engaged as the one. You pretend to be somebody you're not, to be
Yeah.
where you know you're not capable of going. You're not qualified to be with me, but you pretend to be to keep me there.
Right.
I'm so
Right.
serious. I'm getting
Yeah.
t-shirts with pupito across
Yeah.
it. They're in suits and ties now. They're not
Yeah.
just traditional playboys. These are
Right.
doctors and lawyers. These are very professional men doing this stuff.
Right.
And it's just like, you
Yes.
know what? I'm going to Isolation Island until Boaz Solomon show up. He'll be ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be ready. And then we can just do this. I'm ready, Teresa. I'm ready to
Yeah.
love. I know this love here is serious because I love hard and I'm so intentional with
Right.
love. I give it to you on purpose, and I give it
Mm-hmm.
to you until
Right.
you give me a reason to pull it away.
Right.
And
Well,
that's
I
how
was
it is.
scared. I was scared. When my
You can be scared.
high school sweetheart, when my high school sweetheart contacted me, our first date, I told him he was the devil because I just did not think. I didn't think God would send anybody to me right then. Like, I'm not ready, God. What are you doing? Why are you playing with me? You know, I really did not think I was ready. I didn't think I could, you know. I'm glad I could because we're married now and happy, but
He's all that.
he knew who to send me. He knew he couldn't send me anybody new. He knew he had to send me someone who would never hurt me, who
Right.
I could trust. He knew he had to send me somebody like that because Teresa was running from everybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
You are
I
quick to
told
call
him,
somebody the devil, though. You are. You're
huh?
quick to
I
call
did.
somebody.
I told him he was the devil. Yeah, I did. I did. I was like, what do you want? Like, for real. Like, I really thought he wasn't. I'm glad he wasn't.
I'm glad he wasn't also.
I'm glad he wasn't. But I mean, it's
Oh
funny
my God.
because a new man probably would have, if you sit there and call you the devil, he's not calling you no
He would
more.
have ran.
But
He would have ran. He would have
don't ex-
ran.
don't expect that. But with him, we had history. He knew me. He trusted me, and so you know that was meant to be. That was meant to be.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm
he's
so
out there.
grateful he
He's out
called
there.
you. He
I
is
am
out there.
too. I am too.
He is out there
Yeah.
for
But
everybody in the
everyone,
listening ear. Right.
yeah. But your boy ass is
No
out
more
there. He's coming.
pupitos. Yeah. Nobody has time for that. Oh, fake and
Yeah.
phony. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that he called you. And I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. We'll see. You will know right away when he shows up. It's gonna be like a billboard. It's going up. Because and you're right, it may take somebody familiar, someone that's been in
Right.
your life before, who know you or have known you before all of this happened. The real you,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know?
Because we're talking
It'll take
26
that.
years later. We're talking 26 years later. Like, that's crazy, you know. But when I think about it, he's the only man that I can think of, other than my daddy, that hadn't hurt me. The
Yes.
only one I could think of, you know. And I'm like, and it's
Right.
funny when you think of that, it's like when you always hear, you know, God already has your life planned out. This was in the
Right.
plan. Like, you know, and I used to have discussions with my sister. She used to get mad at me because she come over every morning to get herself ready for work. And
Uh-huh.
she was like, you can't talk to God. I have mornings when I'm mad. So I'm talking to God, I'm yelling. You can't talk to God like that, you know.
Yes, you
But
can.
yes, I told her, I
Yes, you
said,
can.
God know, you know, but I had to ask them, is this for me? What is going on? And something I had to be taught is to be patient, to trust,
Yes.
you know, to trust
I
that
see
everything
you,
is
bro.
going to work out the way it's going to work out.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Yes.
So
Teresa,
yeah.
we've talked so much, girl. Let me tell you, we haven't read one comment other than um good night, Cheryl Prescott. Good night, Auntie. Veronica, your cousin Pam. It's like hint
Hey
fabulous.
man.
Someone you know. She's talking about you and your husband 26 years. She's throwing that out there for somebody that I know. I it would take Jesus himself. And it could be possible. I won't close the door
Yeah.
on it. I mean, it's
Hmm.
somebody. I don't know yet. I'm in prayer about it. And you talking about
It's gonna
a
happen.
made for Netflix. Honey, this will be a movie and a half. I promise you.
We have a
Let
mini
that
series. Yes.
Teresa.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's okay. It's really okay. And I haven't said anything to anybody. Thank you for coming into the room over on Station Head. You guys are fabulous. But the thing is, Teresa, to see you smile
Hmm.
after all of that, that is that's when you've evolved.
Right.
You've evolved. And it took going through all of that, and you are
Hmm.
literally going through your acceptance right now. That's why we're
Yes.
side by side in these things, because book number 2 you're writing, book number 2
Yes.
I'm writing, releasing next month, and it's just that I accept me.
Right.
You see, I
Right.
had to accept all of that in order
Yes.
to be present as well as to move forward to where I'm supposed to be going. Who's going to be a
Right.
part of that? And it's a mystery. However, I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
And just to let all you sparrows out there know, Teresa and I we're planning a book tour together. We're going to do this together. Cousins are going to be on the road.
That's
We're going to
right.
go and we're going to tell our stories. And it's going to be shocking to many because neither of us look like what we've been through. And
Thank goodness. Thank God.
thank God for good
Yeah.
genes and strong wit.
Yeah.
Strong wit, great parents to teach us how to
Right.
conduct ourselves, how to push through things and not give up so quickly. So neither of us gave up quickly. But when you're looking at things where our lives are in the balance, we have to make decisions to remove ourselves from that. And the proof is in the print that you are most definitely to read. I'm telling you, please read that poetry. It's different. It's something that's going to
Right.
awaken you. You may read something and make yourself realize that it's something that you've dealt with and wasn't even aware of it.
Right.
So it's time to be
Right.
responsible for yourselves and live your best life every day, even if you have to remove individuals from it. It's very important. And you deserve it because you're fabulous. Period. That's all I'm going to say about that. That is it. So stay tuned. We we haven't decided dates or what we're going to do. However, it had to be said out loud today that we were going to do it to make it something that we can commit to
Right.
because everybody's not going to see this video. And for those of you who has not shared it, please do us a favor and share it. Somebody somewhere needs to see this. They need the help, and it's somebody that's living a secret that you know and they're not sharing with you either. So
Right.
please forward it so they can get the help that they need. Even if they have to reach out to Teresa, they can do that.
Right. And there's a
Okay.
domestic violence hotline in every city.
Yes.
Everyone needs to know that it's domestic violence hotline in every city.
Yes.
So if you want to reach out to me, I can find the numbers for you. Um,
Yes.
it's discreet. You know, they have safe words, safety websites, and everything. So,
Exactly. Exactly. And I am very proud yet again. And I thank you for coming over, hanging out with us in the room tonight. And you've reached two places. You're here on Facebook Live as well as my station head station. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for your grace and your strength to love yourself enough to remove yourself in order to meet someone so amazing that is deserving of you as you are to him, to live your life in peace in order to grow greater together. You deserve that. And continue to write, continue to be out pounding these streets to help those that need the help, because as you help others, you continue to heal yourself.
exactly.
I'm so serious. I love you that
Yeah.
much. I got you. I love you that much. And so, what we're going to have to do, Sparrows, is after the broadcast, we're going to have to go in and respond to your notes individually because we've been going at it for an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
And then when I tell you it's juicy, it's juicy. I tell you it's juicy. So I am grateful that you all took time to come and spend with us today. Take whatever nugget that you need to take, share it with your friends, share it with your family. Make sure you're strong at all times. Pray for those that hurt you and pray that they get the help that they need to be better individuals. That's what my hope is for them. However, we had to go. We couldn't stay. And only God can fix that. Okay.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to share, Teresa?
Basically, my website is Poemful, POEMFULLLC.com. Poemful, I have Poemful workshops. Poemful basically is powerful, original, extraordinary, meaningful, forgivable, unbounded, and lovable. I need every. That's
Love
what
it.
that's what I say to myself to get myself out of my funk. The books are
Yes.
available on my website. My blog will come out on the 16th, I'm sorry, of next month. It's a
Okay.
Poemful blog. It'll be through my Poemful website. The book is available on Amazon. However, I prefer you to go to Poemful first. And you can reach me on social media. I'm on Instagram at T.ResaYvonne, TeresaYvonne. And on Twitter, I am Resa, ResaYvonne. And on Facebook, I'm TeresaYvonne, TeresaYvonne, Teresa T. Yvonne Long. So, and I look forward to hearing from everyone. And if you need some advice, if you need some help, don't hesitate to give me a call, even an email. It's info@poemful.com.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
You've got your work cut out for you, honey. And you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
I
Okay.
know. I know.
And if there's any way I can help, you know where I am.
Yeah.
And if
And
you
I thank
wouldn't mind.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you for having me on. Love you. We always have a good conversation. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's more to come. We've got work to do, sincerely. And I'm just grateful that we can do it side by side. It's support
Right.
for each other. It's a reminder for each other. And it's even greater because we're family.
Right.
You know,
Right.
family sticks together. We do what we have to do. And it's necessary what we are now having to do. Like you said before, I never would have picked this to do. We were chosen for sure
Right.
to do this.
Exactly.
And I think we're doing pretty darn good at it. So we're both introverts and we're on a live broadcast right now. That's great.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And that's it. That is it. And that's all I'm going to say tonight. We will connect later in the week and talk about some things, but we're good. Thank you. And once everything is up and running with your blog and excuse me, and your, what am I saying?
The workshops, the events, everything will be
Yes.
listed. Everything is listed on poemfulllc.com.
Got it.
Yeah.
So all you needed them to do is go over and follow. So if you can put that information in the comments, that would be great. And we'll follow up and update later with the other things. So that's it, Nadal. Thank you so much.
All right.
I love you.
Thank you. Love you. Have a good night.
Good night. All right, Sparrows, thank you so much for coming out and spending time with us this evening. And if anything that was discussed on this resonates with you, be sure to get the help that you need. If you need to reach out to Teresa, please do so. If you need to reach out to myself, please do so. We are here to help you, to give you the tools that you need to live your life in freedom. So on that note, the love without conditions, always possess a positive attitude and soar in all you do. I love you, mean it. Smooches.